Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's Daryl here. It is 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I actually had to interrupt my workout halfway through because this was just driving me crazy and I need to talk about this. I have to go back to Trump's interview yesterday with CBS, where he said one of the most ignorant, racist things I have ever heard uttered out of anyone in my lifetime. When the interviewer asked him about black people and they're being killed by police, Trump says, and I'm paraphrasing here, Trump says, "What about white people? As a matter of fact, more white people are killed by police than black people. What about white people? That's a terrible thing to say. What about the white people?" When he said that's a terrible thing to say, he was saying that for the reporter to actually bring up that black people are 3 times more likely to be killed by police than white people, that was terrible for her to say that. Terrible. Disgusting. I got to talk about this. Okay. Do I even need to point out the methodology here is terribly flawed? Do I need to really go through that? I don't think so. Okay. If you are going to go along with what Trump said, if you are a Trump supporter or otherwise severely handicapped and with your thinking abilities, your reasoning, and you think that makes sense, then these other things also must be true. If that's the flawed methodology you're going to use, then let's say white middle-aged guys are by far much more likely to be killers, serial killers, by far. White men are much more likely to be irresponsible drunk drivers. White men are much more likely to steal, to embezzle from the very companies that gave them livelihood, their employers. White men are filthy, thieving embezzlers. White men are much more likely to be drunken wife beaters. These things also must be true. If you're using the flawed methodology that Trump used, that, hey, more white people, what about the white people? Then those things also must be true. All right, this is like saying, let's see. All right, if what Trump was saying is true, then I'm 54 years old. So in my lifetime, is it more likely, would I have found, say I find a bill of currency, a denomination on the ground, on the sidewalk. How many times have I found a bill on the sidewalk? Probably 30 times in my life I have found something, some kind of bill laying on the sidewalk. If Trump's methodology, his reasoning was true, then during my lifetime, I could have easily found 30 $100 bills laying on the sidewalk in my lifetime. Just as likely as during my lifetime have I found 30 $1 bills laying on the street and the sidewalk during my life? Probably. I probably have found maybe 30, maybe every couple of years I'll find a dollar bill laying on the sidewalk. But if Trump's methodology is true, then I should have found 30 $100 bills, $50 bills. It's obvious because there's way more $1 bills. Do I really need to explain this? And yet here's, and it's not even that. It's the fact that Trump supporters are going to go completely along with this. Today, all over social media, in little conversations and discussions all around America, Trump supporters are parroting that very thing that Trump said. Well, white guys are much more likely to be killed by the police. I looked it up. They start, the school system, on average, starts teaching percentages, little statistics around the 4th grade, 5th grade. Okay? Anybody with an understanding of percentages, statistics, not even per capita kind of thing, but just basic percentages. If you have an understanding of basic percentages, you'll realize that Trump's methodology, his statement, is flawed, badly flawed. It's purposely false is what it is, but Okay, so they teach this in fourth grade. So all around the country today, there are Trump supporters saying things that most fourth graders would have the common knowledge to know that isn't true. That is a flawed way of thinking. All across the country, Trump supporters are looking less intelligent than the average fourth grader today. That's the scary thing. All right. That's all I had to say about that. Give it some thought. All right. You guys have a good Wednesday.